Computer Gaming Addicts Anonymous is a fellowship of people who support each other in recovering from the problems resulting from excessive game playing. CGAA is not affiliated with any political agenda, religion, or outside interests. Our single purpose is to abstain from gaming to help others find freedom from the effects of gaming addiction. We have no membership requirements beyond the desire to stop gaming. Our groups share their collective experience and the principles that help them. Each of us is free to try out or disregard the suggestions of the program and of other members. We have no professionals and no affiliation with any professional or government services. Our groups are financed by voluntary contributions from members and accept no outside funding. Okay, so today's meeting is a speaker meeting, and our speaker is her.
Growing up, I really didn't have online gaming. I had mostly offline stuff, Game Boys, consoles, computers, and to me, gaming was the most wonderful thing there was. You could be whatever you wanted. You could be involved. I liked reading, but the problem with reading is you have to follow a script. You have to follow a storyline. And in gaming, you really get to pick where your story goes and your involvement in there. As a kid growing up, I always wanted to game. I picked friends who had games at their house. I really didn't understand why they wanted to go play basketball or baseball. Although I like those things too, if they could just sit inside and game. My parents really never bought me, the better games, more expensive games, and I ended up borrowing let's just call it what it is, stealing, the games from them. I'd come over to their house when they weren't there and use them, or I'd, borrow a CD and bring it back home. When I was, my parents understood that that this was a problem for me. I just thought my mother wanted to be tough on me, but the truth was it was, and I couldn't see it. She password protected the computer, and I found a way to hack through Windows and get onto that. I never understood that I spent all this time gaming. To me, each game was a separate reality. I'd be in this game, I'd be in that game. It was only after I stopped gaming and I really went back and did an inventory that I realized that I had spent almost all my childhood into my adolescence and then adulthood gaming. It was all gaming. It was all gaming reality. That is something I didn't realize at the time. I believe my friendships suffered because I didn't have the time or energy or attention to build those relationships. My schooling suffered. After my parents went to sleep, I'd sneak out and use the computer, and I'd be up to 4 or 5 in the morning, which is not good for a fifth grader. It's not that I was good at games or anything. Just I enjoyed them. I loved them. Now, you kind of think, well, kids play games and that's what we do, and that's not a problem. Well, you get into, 18, 19, 20, 21, you kind of go, well, you should be working now. You should be doing all these things. And I was gaming around 6 hours. It went up to 8 hours a night. And I was working full time. I was studying full time, and I was gaming full time, which didn't really leave much time for health or sleep. Or at one point I thought I was addicted to not sleeping, which is pretty insane, but I loved it. And escaping into the gaming reality made everything else in life worth it. I mean, that's how I saw it. And I started therapy because I knew that emotionally I had some trouble. I didn't point it at gaming. I just thought, well, if you had my problems, you'd game too. Or if you felt the way I did, it's just an escape. One of the things I realized was that gaming really allowed me to numb out all that stuff out there, all the responsibilities that weigh on you, all the discomforts. And I could escape into this reality. Everything was fine, and it was either, we played a whole bunch of different games, most of it strategy, but first-person shooter, or, all these online games that I was able to get to when I was a little bit older, and I was able to have my own connection. I was able to escape into all that. and I realized it was really a problem. And after about 2 years of therapy, I realized that I can't stop. I really thought I could. I really thought if it got bad enough, if I really needed to work bad enough, if I really needed to study bad enough, I would quit. And I had quit at times. I had this project I had to work on, and things got a little out of hand, and I would stop for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Um, and I was productive, and I was overproductive, and I compensated. But at the end of the day, I wasn't happy without it. I really needed it. I needed that escape. And eventually I tried moderating with the help of a therapist. I tried, and there are people who can moderate. I absolutely see that. But some people game a lot and they don't game anymore, and that's fine for them. I really tried very hard with all that. And I was right before StarCraft 2 came out. I knew that if I didn't stop now, if I went ahead and bought the game, which I think was like $54, $56, wasn't a lot of money, but I knew I would lose at least 6 months of my life in quality time um, if I when I purchased that game. And I actually looked up gaming addiction online, and I found all gone. And I got stuck in the capture for some reason. I couldn't create an account, and 2 or 3 days later, I purchased the game. And about 6 months down the road, I looked up gaming addiction again, and I found my first sponsor and started working the steps. Um, why did I stop gaming? Why did I stop gaming? I used to have this fantasy that they one day they'd declare me mentally insane and they'd lock me up in a solitary confinement with a gaming computer, and that's where I'd spend my life. That was like a dream. It's pretty sick. Um, so why did I stop gaming if that's really all I wanted to do? I came to the realization that I would never have any quality of life in anything if I continued gaming. I would never. Yeah, I could function. Maybe I could hold down a small job here or there, but I'd never really enjoy anything um, in real life if I continued gaming. And I realized I had to stop. Um, in recovery, I've realized that I have a limited amount of attention. I have a limited amount of soul. If I put all my soul in the game, even when I'm not gaming, um, I don't have any more interest or energy left. I'm just about gaming. That's it. And I realized that I would have no life, even if I could make it work. I could make it work out or whatever. It wouldn't work for me um, without stopping. So I started. I actually had to join an Anon program for some family issues about a year before joining Anon and working the steps with a sponsor for the first time. And that's how I knew about the steps. And I went through them pretty quickly. I mean, I got a sponsor. I worked the first step, 2, 3, 4. I wrote all my stuff down. I told it over to him. And in about 3 months, I was up to step 9. And when I work with a sponsee, generally that's how I do it. The step for me, the steps are very simple, spiritual path, and they're very different than. They're not there to change your whole life. It's really to change your essence. And I surrendered. I saw that I can't continue living the way I'm living now. I would prefer to live to serve a higher power. I did my 4th step out of the big book. That's how my sponsor had me do it. So 3 inventories, and we moved right along. I was doing about a meeting a day, plus forum discussions, and sponsoring when I first joined the program. And what was amazing was I wasn't fighting. I wasn't fighting the need to game anymore. When I quit the other times, I needed it. I was okay for a couple days, for a week, for 2 weeks, and then I would miss it. I would get irritated. I would get annoyed with this simple life of just taking care of high school kids and just studying the way everyone else had to. I missed it. I missed being able to be whoever I wanted, however I wanted, whenever I wanted. It was a lot easier. But when I was working the steps and I was, going to meetings and helping newcomers, I didn't want it anymore. I didn't want that life. I had all the life I wanted, and I started because I was of age, and in our tradition, you get married at a certain age. I started dating a girl. I was about 9 months. We got married when I was just shy of a year, free of gaming. And some people said, you're pretty young. You're pretty new at this. And I said, yeah, you're right, but this isn't really a lifestyle change. This is, what you have to do in our culture. And after I got married, it was difficult. It was difficult because I was spending time focusing on my wife, like I should, but I wasn't spending as much time focusing on my program. And sponsee calls you, you don't call them back right away, and you call back a day later, and you don't do as many readings, and you don't go to as many meetings. And one of the things I noticed was that I started to miss it again. I started missing gaming again. I started to miss that escape because I wasn't living for a higher purpose. I was living for myself, building my own life. And, so I swung back and I started going to more meetings and got a couple new sponsees and, doing more meditation. And, as time goes on, you get busy, one kid, and you change jobs, and it's been a constant struggle, the struggle between Herschel's will and God's will. And I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but to a certain degree, they both take time, and you need to make time for both. And I kind of swing back and forth between, not enough program and, not enough schoolwork or work. Where am I currently? I've got two kids, a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. We just moved apartments this year. About 5 months ago, we moved from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, so that's nice. I just retook the LSAT, which is the entry to law school. As an attorney, I'm trying to get into the family business. I'm currently going to MBA program online school, and you would think that I've got everything. I mean, I'm young. I'm 27. I've got all this stuff lined up, and I've got all this. I've got a family, and I've got a job, and everything is working out for me. And when I'm not focusing on my program, when I'm not calling my sponsees, when I'm not working with my sponsor, I would throw that all away. I would throw that all away the game again. And I struggle with just watching TV late at night and reading and wasting time, other things for Herschel as well. And one of the things I tell myself is yes, and I tell my sponsees this as well. Yes, you're not going to quit gaming and then suddenly be this spiritual butterfly and float away. That's true to an extent. But the other side of the coin is that I really need the spiritual program. I really need to be connected to others. I really need to be connected to our primary purpose if I'm going to stay healthy, because I know the end game over here. My addiction wants me to take care of me and win this game. I want that more than almost anything in my life. And the way that I overcome that is by hanging out with you guys, helping another gamer. There's nothing that really talks to me more than working with another gamer who's just trying to rebuild their life. That really talks to me. And when my sponsees, when they start working with a new gamer as well. So anyways, that's my story. That's kind of where I've come from, where I've gone, and where I am now. Thanks for listening.